Hey, MBS Media family, it's Joe Cardoza, owner and operator of Team MBS Media, here bringing you another exclusive interview with one of the great up-and-coming athletes in the world of sports. This week, we had our very own Melo Williams get a chance to visit the campus of the Wisconsin Badgers, and while in Madison, he had a great opportunity to sit down and chop it up with Big Ten champion sprinter and the fastest Badger in history, Melo Johnson. It's a wide-ranging interview covering lots of topics, and we get to know the mindset and the build-up of a championship athlete. Without further ado, let's head out to Madison to Melo and Lo.
Welcome to the press conference. I'm your host, Melo Williams. Today's special guest is a UW Badger sprinter, Big Ten champion, 60-meter champion, and the USA Gold Medalist, and the fastest man in Wisconsin, Mr. Melo Johnson. Melo, how you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Most definitely. Man, thanks for taking time out of your day to join the press conference so we can just talk about you, track, what you got going on, and all your accomplishments.
Thank you.
Most definitely. Let's just start off with you early, young, before you really committed to just track. You know, I know you're a three-sport athlete. What was it about sports that drew you to sports at a young age?
Yeah, I mean, I just love competing. I love the whole process of getting better. I love the process of chasing something that is truly not guaranteed, right? Like, you can do everything right and still take it out. So that the whole process it's exciting, you know.
What is it about competing that gets you going? What does competition do for you individually?
You know, it's almost like it pulls a different side of me out, right? It feels like through my day-to-day life, it's funny, I don't want to go down to a rabbit hole where I start to give you the true mental aspect of it, right? Because I might go too far down and we might be like, what did he just say? But it brings a different part out of me.
Sure.
You know, I like to say I walk around a day as Elo, but you know, when it's time to compete, I'm Lawrence, you know?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Lawrence, or Mr. Wick is the nickname, so
Nice.
that's how it goes.
Talk about preparation when you said when it's time to compete.
Mm-hmm.
You walk around, you're Lo. When it's time to compete, you're Lawrence. Talk about preparation prior to just anything with the meet or anything when it comes to competing.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's another really fun aspect is how days stack on days. Like a good practice stacks on another good practice. A good week of nutrition steps on another good week of nutrition. A good week of sleep, and how these dominoes lead up to, you know, performances that leave you feeling good, you know. I really enjoy the preparation aspect, from the mental to the physical to even the spiritual, right? So it's one of my pillars that I include in on my daily life. I gotta be right with God. I gotta be right with my family. I gotta be right physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And then everything unfolds.
For sure. You talk about nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it for you to eat right when you're training? How much focus do you put on your nutrition and eating healthy and eating right?
Yeah, I mean, I put a tremendous amount of focus on it. Like it's one of those things where I look at it as it helping me get closer to the goal I want or further away. And it's one of those direct components in performance that it can't be ignored. So I take nutrition extremely serious. From, you know, everything I put in my body has a purpose.
For sure.
Let's put it that way.
And like you said, everything you put in your body has a purpose. You know, you stick to a strict diet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a cheat day?
Yeah, I have a cheat day here and there, you know, but my cheat days are on Saturdays. So I don't consider it a full cheat day. I won't just go have this for breakfast, have this for lunch, or have this for dinner. I'll have maybe like a cheat meal.
Okay.
That I look forward to.
Okay.
And that meal is just it's one of those things that allows me to, you know, pull away for a second.
For sure. What's your favorite cheat meal, date meal?
Oh man, I definitely love Chipotle. Chipotle is my thing. I can eat Chipotle any day of the week.
Okay.
A couple times a day a week.
Okay. For sure, most definitely. Let's just talk about competing. On a high school level first, before you But I want you to think about the college level and how you prepare in high school and the competition level. We all know the competition level is, it increases. It gets better with the level. But looking at being that you're in college and ran in high school, speak about the difference of preparation for a meet in college versus high school.
Yeah, man, high school meets was completely different in how I'd compare for college. I mean, there'd be times I might even eat a hot dog warming up, in high school with some Skittles there, and then go out and just run a 200, come back, get another hot dog. So it's funny like that because there's certain things that I wouldn't even dare to do now that I've done in high school. The preparation from high school, I wouldn't say it was days leading up to it, weeks leading up to it, but I'd also say like that lack of preparation has helped me to realize how important preparation is when I do get to college or when I am in college right now. So the preparation it was as far away as it is right now, if I'm being honest.
And being in high school, your junior year, if I'm not mistaken, you won the state in 100, correct?
Yeah.
Would you speak about that moment? Just speak about that year, like going into the year, as the year went on, as the closer you got to state. Just speak about your focus and the preparation and just speak about that whole experience.
Yeah, I'll even take it a step further and go a couple years before that. I remember freshman year, I made it to state in the final. And I was pretty close to winning that race as a freshman. And then I remember thinking like, man, if I made it this close, I took fourth as a freshman. I lost maybe in the last 10 meters. Sophomore year, I'm just going to win it, right? Like if I did it to this point, it was just going to happen. Lo and behold, sophomore year, that thought process of just thinking it was going to happen by just doing the same things I did the year before showed me that's not going to happen. You can't just expect different results from the same mentality, the same process. And, that led into my junior year, realizing I am good enough to compete at this level in high school, but it's going to take another step to be a champion. And, that step happened junior year. I was training a lot more with track specifically in mind. Stopped playing basketball, focused in on football and track a lot, and it paid off. So.
For sure. And your situation was different, not in a bad way. And you come from a track family.
Yeah.
Both of your parents ran track, gold medal, Olympic qualifiers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speak about the lessons, the teachings that they taught you as far as preparing for track, and some advice that they gave you leading up to, from like you said, your sophomore year up to your junior year winning.
Yeah, I've been running track my entire life, but it's always been like a painful sport for me. Up until freshman year, I lost a lot of races. Most
people wouldn't believe that.
Yeah, it's I lost way more than the winning. Like honestly, I can't even really think of the times I truly won doing track since I was like 6 growing up. And I always wanted to be a better athlete than my mom, but not having it come at the time where I wanted it to come was really hard growing up. So they always encouraged me. They always said like, you just got to keep going, keep working. I remember saying my parents always tell me is a blessing delayed is not a blessing denied. So it might not come this year, it might not come next year. But there's a couple of things that always happen. When you put in the work, you will reap the benefits.
Most definitely.
No matter when it comes.
Most definitely. Doing some research on you, your sister also ran track as well, and I noticed that she's a huge inspiration, a part of your life as well. Qualified for made track state for track as well. Would you speak about the relationship between you and your sister and the influence that she has with you when it comes to competing and just being a big sister?
Yeah, I mean she's like the perfect sister I could ask for, honestly. Because I would always work out with her. My sister and I would work out together. Our parents would take us to the track. We lifted together. We did everything together. But it was also really hard because LaBria's always had a ton of success growing up. Every age division LaBria competed in, from 8th all the way up to collegiate, she broke a record. you know. So like Labria dominated athletics and track and field in a way that, you know, made me wish or believe that I could do it too. It might not have happened when I was from 7 years old all the way to college, but it made me realize that if she can do it, I can still do it.
So a lot of your inspiration came from at home.
Yeah, easy.
Sure.
Yeah,
For sure. Family rivalries was trash talking. Did mom ever feel that she could beat the daughter? Did daughter feel she could beat mom? Did dad feel he could beat son? Did son feel he could beat dad?
Yeah.
I mean, does the family have any trash talking rivalries going on?
Man, like, I'll just put it like this: if there's any sort of competition, you got to be ready. You know, you got to be ready. You know, we might even be playing a board game. It might just be a game that my parents can't even really, you know, partake fully, but they'll try to find a way to win. I remember there was a time I golfed against my dad, and I'm always competitive against him. And I knew that this was going to be the day I was going to beat him. But I didn't tell him I was going to go completely zone in on this golfing match.
Oh.
So he was just kind of like going through the motions. And then I think we was on like hole, like, I don't say 15. I started letting him know, like, you know, I'm up a couple strokes. Man. Like, what's up? Blah, blah, blah.
Applying the pressure.
Yeah, I started letting him know. And then I actually beat him that time. And I just remember him in the car ride silent. We were driving home. He just couldn't believe it. Because honestly, like, I would have never thought if I was in his shoes that I would have beat him that day either. But it was just one of those days where I just felt focused. I felt like this is the day I want to accomplish these things and work on these things. And you know, it's funny because there's certain moments in my life where when that happens, I'm able to, you know, truly meet the level of expectations I have of myself. And oftentimes, like, you know, the expectation is much higher than what I actually accomplish. So
Nice. Speaking of your dad, like you said, he ran track, played professional football as well. What advice, you know, has your dad given you, though, as far as being a multi-sport athlete and just dealing with, you know, the demands of school? I mean, because you're a high academic scholar as well.
Yeah.
So just speak about the balance, you know, that your dad, you know, some of the information, or your mom gave you as far as being a multi-sport athlete.
Yeah, you know, that's a really good question because, you know, they always told me growing up it takes sacrifices, right? You can't. If the goals you really want to accomplish, you know, from a student to a person to an athlete, you know, you can have a lot of it, but it's hard to have it all. So you got to really pick and choose where you want to invest your time, where you want your emotions, you want your energy, you want your mental energy, physical, all of that to go to. And that was, I would say that was one of the first lessons I learned growing up, being, you know, in so many different extracurricular activities and having friends. It's just, you know, I just had to pick and choose. So.
And a little bit ago you mentioned golf.
Yeah.
Is that one of your favorite hobbies when you're not studying or preparing for track?
Oh yeah, I'm on a golf course frequent with my dad. You know, we golf and it's just kind of like a way to, not to pull away, but a way to just, you know, just kind of be in the elements, kind of just get in a state of flow and just enjoy being out there.
For sure.
So I do golf a little bit, yeah.
Let's just speak about, you know, with youth nowadays, a lot of youth is just sticking to one sport. They're finding one sport, and that's cool. They're sticking it out. Like you said, you're a multi-sport athlete. Would you speak about playing different sports and how that can benefit an athlete in their body?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's, you know, just as important as anything growing up as an athlete. You have to be in these different sports and different scenarios to just kind of bring it all together, right? There's things that, you know, I learned from football that gives me an advantage over track athletes. And there's things I learned from track that give me a legitimate advantage over football players. So I mean, like, there's not a real, it's not a coincidence when you look at, you know, someone like Tyreek Hill, who dominates football, but he also was a very fast prep and college athlete. You know, there's also those other people like LeBron. You know, LeBron was a legitimate high school football player. Allen Iverson. We're naming people that's like Terrell Owens. We're talking Randy Moss. You know, we're talking about Hall of Famers. So it's the blueprint is there, and for the most part, specializing hasn't really been a part of the blueprint. So.
I like that. We must talk about, you won a state championship in football as well for Wanakee High School. Would you speak about that experience? Not many, get to win a state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Would you speak about that experience playing football with Wanakee and becoming a state champion in track and in football in high school?
Yeah, that's winning that state football. It really helped us manage expectations, because we were touted as the class. 5th grade, 6th grade, when we first could start playing tackle football, it was like, these guys is gonna win a state title. They just knew it. Everybody would tell us. The grade above us knew we were good. The grades below us knew we were good. It's just the class that I was a part of. And even, there's more classes that make a football team, but specifically our class, we were always thought of as, going to be one of the best teams to come through. So, once we've done that, we dominated in all age groups, from 5th, 6th, 7th grade, all the way up to, when we were seniors, we probably lost in our entire football career. We probably lost maybe 10 games.
10 games?
Yes.
Since you guys were in 5th grade?
Yes. So since we could literally play football, and we weren't maybe back then it might have been 6 teams. So we'll even say back then when it was 2 or 3 teams max, we probably lost less than 10 games. Definitely less than 10 games.
Speak about that group. What was it about that group? The older you guys got, like you said, you guys were together. Expectations were state championship with you guys. As you guys got older, would you speak about the bond and how much you guys really believed in what other people saw before you guys could realize, the expectations and how real those expectations were?
Yeah, it's funny because I'd say when you're a middle schooler or high schooler, you're really big-headed, right? So people telling you that you guys are going to win a state title, it made it really easy to believe, oh yeah, we're going to go out here and do these guys. We're going to go out here and win all 4 quarters. And really, we want to put 60 before halftime. So having that mentality and that mindset, that was it just made the game fun. We were going out there to just dominate. And that was the only goal, to dominate. But having those expectations also played a major role in, even only losing 10 games. 3 of those games are in the playoffs. You can't lose those playoffs games. I would trade a 9-1 season for a 6-7 season, but winning the championship.
For sure.
In my eyes, right?
For sure.
So
yes. Yes.
The ability to win these games were awesome and to dominate. But we knew that we weren't at the point where we could just go ahead and get that state title, go ahead and win that championship. So the moment we started to come together as a team and, took every practice a little more serious, took every lift a little more serious. I know it says 6 reps, but we're going to get 8 reps today. Just all of that, building camaraderie, always going out and getting chicken wings, all of those things. It played a role in
team
a championship team, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we was a team that was, we were together, and we were extremely athletic, but that missing piece came in that senior year.
And that missing piece, when it came in, when did you know that, okay, the missing piece is here, we got it together, let's go for that gold ball?
I would say early, I would say after we lost to, I think it was Monona Grove, man, that loss did something to us because we weren't expecting to lose like that. We beat that team pretty bad early in the year. I mean, we handled them, right? We beat them.
Right.
We beat them.
Right.
And they came back and they gave it to us. They really, they beat us pretty bad in a dominant fashion. So after that loss, I remember us coming together as a team and looking at the seniors and promising them, man, we're going to do this. We're not going to do it just for you guys. We're going to do it for 2017, 2016, 2015, all the teams that, felt like they was there to do it, but they couldn't do it. So I'd say, honestly, the next day in the weight room, we knew we were going to win because it just was time. It's like we made our choice up. We were going to be champions.
Speak about you and your leadership with that team. Like you said, star player, running back, expectations, coach depending on you, as every player, to contribute for the success of the team. Let's speak about your leadership, how you know the coach depended on you to help lead the team.
Yeah, really the whole process is how can we win these games? We had a lot of good athletes on our team. So it was come to a point where it's like, what do we got to do to win? We got a whole bunch of individuals that are extremely athletic. We got our 4x1 team in track was all receivers. We was all just fast guys playing football and running track, shooting hoops. So it came to a point where it's whatever coach wanted me to do. If he needed me to play the slot, I'll play the slot. If he needed me to carry the ball as many times a game, that's what it takes to win. And, winning, it takes everything. So that's just a part of it.
So when the clock struck 4 zeros and Wanakee was crowned champions, how did you feel?
Man, it felt like it was I don't want to say closure, but it felt like it was the ending of a book. It was
Sure.
like we were supposed to win this our entire life since we've been playing football. And now that we've done it, that's the end. We're walking out champions. There's gonna be another champion next year, but there would never be this year's champions again.
And no one can ever take that from you guys.
Definitely.
That's history forever.
Got the banner raised, got our rings, and we just lived in the moment.
Yes, sir. Let's move on to recruiting. We know how recruiting is. We have NIL is a big thing now. So the ways that coaches are recruiting and things change.
Yep.
The way that you was recruited and how you were recruited. Just speak about your recruitment process, and then after that, just speak about how coaches will probably use NIL to their advantage when it comes to recruiting players today.
Yeah, well, my recruitment was a little different. So I knew I wanted to do both sports in college. It was just a matter of finding the right fit. It's a lot of things that go into choosing the college, especially as an offensive player, even as defensive players. I want to be in the right system. I want to be used in the way I envision myself playing when I close my eyes at night. I want to play like my favorite players. So that was a major factor. And then I wanted to go to a place where I could compete in track and field at a high level, where I was going to be pushed. I was going to have a world-class facility. I was going to have, be a part of a team with a proven track record to get me to a level where I didn't think I could go before. And then all those things came into the right pieces when I took my visit out to New Mexico, and Coach Kaz came and sat down and came in my living room and told us hey, we want to have you guys come out on an official visit and just tell us what you think of it. So it felt right going out there, seeing the indoor track, seeing the outdoor track, meeting the coaches, being around my teammates. I could see myself succeeding there.
And what you did, because you ended up winning a 60-meter champ for Mountain West too, right?
Yeah, correct.
Speak about the competition in the Mountain West. Was it what you thought it was going to be? Was it more? So because we, the rumors, guys in the SEC, the Big Ten, are the fastest guys in the country, right?
Yeah.
Would you speak about the competition that you faced in the Mountain West out there at New Mexico?
Yeah, there's fast people everywhere in this country, right? It's kind of like that saying in football where, like, if you're good, they'll find you. If you're fast, you can make it out of a D2 school, a D3 school. The elements of a fast athlete is not, it doesn't solely have a certain conference name on it, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
At the end of the day, we're all going to be running whatever distance. It's just a matter of fact who can do it that day. So, I'd say the Mountain West Conference is the equivalent to, any other conference. It just depends on who's in the heat that day, who's like the level of competition, the athletes they have that year. My freshman year, I took dead last. Almost every race I ran. So, I guess the competition level was good enough to close the door, right?
For sure. Most definitely. Like I said, again, went out to New Mexico, became a 60-meter indoor champ in the Mountain West as well. So at that point, you're a track champ in 100 in high school, state champ in football, 60-meter track champ in the Mountain West. transferred back home to the state of Wisconsin, to the University of Wisconsin at that. How did you feel coming back home?
Man, I feel motivated, right? It felt like it was, I feel like I feel like it's time for me to come back and, do what I had set out a long time ago. The dream and the vision that God gave me at one point felt like it wasn't going to happen. It felt like it was, I don't want to say not going to happen. Let's say it's not going to happen. It was always deep down I knew it was going to happen, but it felt blurry, let's put it that way, like it was tested. And through that test, I found new motivation. I found a new purpose, a new joy in the sports that I didn't have before, right? So coming home, I was excited to put all those things to test and see how it played out.
Wow, to know that, like you said, you had to refine that joy in it, that the love was there, but just that joy, like you said. When you found that joy, what was it that brought that joy back? Was it just sport? Did you see a competition? What was it that brought that joy back for you?
I feel like a part of it was, in the sports, we have such a deep identity in what we do as athletes. And when you can't do something at the level that you expect yourself to do it, it makes practice hard. It makes other things that became so easy extremely hard, right? So I remember there's a point in time where I'd be at practice and I'm just gonna try harder. And every time I felt like I was trying harder, I was actually moving further away. I was struggling more. I was missing reps. I was just getting further away from where I felt like who I was as a person, as an athlete. So as those trials and tribulations came, it felt like another bad one, another bad practice. But it's funny because, no matter how many times that happened, I can say all it took was for me to keep showing up just another day. And that one breakthrough turned into another breakthrough, to another breakthrough. So it almost felt like as the ball was completely rolling against me and I couldn't stop it, once it did go back the other way, it was easier rolling back up the hill. So it's a hard way to explain it, but that's just the best way I can explain it. Like it just felt a new sense of purpose, new sense of motivation.
And that new sense of purpose, that new motivation, was definitely shown as you competed and qualified for nationals ever since then. Yeah. Would you speak about, just when you saw yourself elevating, you saw the joy back, winning race after race after race. At what point did you say, okay, I'm going for nationals?
Yeah, it's funny because I would say that goal happened before I ever qualified for nationals. I remember winning after the 60 meter in the Mountain West. I was thinking like, man, I just gotta go win a national title. Gotta go do it. And at that point, it felt like it was far away, if that makes sense. It felt like I was shooting out to a goal that I could barely see. Because, at that time, it was 200 sprinter in the country. And then we're chasing down one, right? So it was, I remember when I first felt those goals and these ambitions in me, that I'd almost be afraid to talk about it. Like, I sit my family down and I'm like, you guys, I really want to, I'm like, I probably won't tell them, just in case it don't happen. But, now that's not even like a thought process, because the way I see goals and visions is, God doesn't put those in my spirit if it's not possible, right? So it's almost like listening to that little voice saying like, yeah, go do that, go try this. Because you never know. But you can look up, Drake says it perfect in one song, He was talking about how he walked past Drake in the studio, and then 9 months later he signed to him. He said, but I walked past Lil Wayne, and 9 months later he signed to him. He's like, Lil Wayne probably never even remember him at that time. So you just never really know. So I'd say, man, it's just listening to that little voice that gives me the vision of the next step, or gives me the vision of where I should decide my next steps be. And I'm grateful God gives me those visions and points me in those directions.
And like you said, with those things, Drake also said working with the negatives give you a better picture, right?
Yeah.
Going through the adversity that you was going through, how clear was the picture, looking at the negatives? Like you said, at one point in time, you probably wasn't a top 200 sprinter.
Yeah.
You didn't look at that as a negative. You looked at it as motivation.
Yeah.
When did you know you belonged when you were there?
I'd say, maybe there's I feel like everybody wants some sort of like validation from their peers, right? Like, you want to be known as a legitimate threat, and whatever you're doing is like, okay, this guy got the stamp of approval. And honestly, I don't feel like I have that. I don't feel like I've been seen as a legitimate contender. And I'm not saying that as in a way of, talking down on anybody or anything, but that's just how I feel. So, honestly, I just come and practice every day, grateful that I get another opportunity to get better and see how that takes me.
Sure. Let's talk about, leading up to you becoming the Big Ten 60-meter champion as well. I got to see you race in Minnesota and racing against some of the best. And just to see how you was able to turn it on, when you set your mind to something, you go after it. And looking at some of your posts, you just tell that the motivation was, I want the crown. I want to become the champ. What other motivation did you need to become that?
Well, there was other goals along the way. Like, I wanted to surpass my dad in the all-time top 10 list. And that was like a lifelong goal. That was another one of those goals that was like, it's far out there. I hear it. I'm just going to see when it happens. Like, I'm just going to keep working.
Who also ran track at UW as well.
Yeah, so that's kind of like how the story comes, full circle in that way, because it's, when he was running, he probably wasn't thinking like, I'm going to have a son come out here and
challenge him.
Yeah, challenge him. It's probably something he was never thinking about. But, the day when it happened and the opportunity, I remember I told him that day, I'm like, yeah, man, today's the day.
It's over.
Like, I told him in the crowd, like, today's the day. He shook his head, but it actually happened that day. You can kind of just feel when those things are going to happen. It's like, just get the confirmation.
And your dad, at one point in time, had the #1 record as well in the 100 meters as well, correct?
Yeah, 60, 100, and 3 and 2. So he had
all around.
Yeah.
All around with it. When he realized you was getting closer to surpassing him,
yeah.
Did the trash talk increase?
Oh yeah.
What was those conversations like between you and Dad?
Man, like I honestly kind of miss him, because now we don't really talk that much trash. We talk about other type of trash talk. The goalposts changed now. Now It's like you guys got super spikes. Back then we was running on cinder blocks.
Okay.
And cinder blocks is like a crazy thought process. Like that's crazy to be running on. I don't know if he actually was running on it or not. But to answer the question, as I came close, he used to just hear it. Like, man, this dude's like a 10-9 guy. He's nowhere near. He's gonna beat me. Like, listen to this cat right here. And then as I came close, he said, yeah, you're kind of in the neighborhood. Before you was outside the neighborhood looking in the fence talking about, I'm going to live next door to you. And I remember one time it was, I was maybe like 300ths off of his time. I'm like, Dad, man, I'm your next door neighbor looking inside your house now.
Hi, neighbor.
Yeah, like, we share a backyard now. So like, every time I look over, that's just like the next house next door. So yeah, once it got there, the trash talk became real. It was, well, what about the 200? You can't get the 200, and then it just changed.
Like you said, the field goal post keep moving.
Yeah, it's like I got another house.
Keep moving. The record, what was it? 10-3?
Yeah, his was 10. I want to say 10:31.
10:31.
Yeah.
And what did you run to beat him?
10:29.
10:29.
Yeah.
Speak about that moment.
Man, it was it was a good moment, but you know what he told me? he said that the record book was wrong because he has a 10-2-9 out there. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, you mean to tell me you got a 10-29 out there?
They moving.
They would have that time up there somewhere. But he's convinced that they had a 10-29 that it's just not in the record books. But yeah, man, like it was like a feeling, but it didn't. I don't want to say like. I look at it as like it was a puzzle, right? Mm. It was this whole journey's been a puzzle, and it was one piece of the puzzle, and it wasn't like I was like, okay, I'm good. Like I surpassed my dad. That's a lifelong goal, but I still realized it was this whole image of the puzzle wasn't complete at all. So like it was no let up. It almost was like, oh man, I got a puzzle piece I didn't think I was gonna find. Let's see the rest of these pieces. So it was. I feel like it was even more motivation.
For sure. That next year you went crazy. You know, you in a good way. I mean, you won the 60 meters, but before winning the 60 meters, you had the chance to compete for USA Gold for a gold medal. Mm-hmm. Would you speak about that experience competing for a gold medal and representing the United States of America?
Yeah, I mean that was my first ever U.S. team, and it was a crazy experience. And it was like maybe like a 13-month season. Like It was the longest time I've ever done any sports that long. So I want to say that meet was in maybe August, right? And I started training the year before in August. I really started training the year before that, like months before that, doing swimming, all those things. So to have a full year and then a month of training and then to compete again was a thing. I was like, man, this is a new challenge. I have to really make sure my body is right. I have to be, locked in for the full year. So competing in the Bahamas was amazing, man. I was in the Bahamas for a track meet, and it was such a cool experience because it made me realize, what the gifts God gave me and how it can expand my world. The Bahamas is one of those things where it's like, we all talk about like the Bahamas is like a really beautiful place, but I never really thought I was going to be going there when I was 22 years old, And then let alone competing there, doing the sport I love. It was It was such a cool experience because I got to meet, some Olympians. I got to meet high-level athletes, high-level coaches that literally live the lifestyle that I wanted to live. I want to achieve the thing that they've achieved. And it felt like I was just constantly trying to pick up game. Like, oh, so you sleep in a couple hours. I wonder why that is. Look it up. Actually, 10 to 12 hours is, better sleep than just 8 to 10. So I was just constantly trying to pick up.
A sponge.
Yeah, trying to pick up as much game as I can get.
Definitely.
But then there was also certain times where it was like, these guys are extremely good athletes, but I want to be better than them. So it's like, there's a moment where I realized like these guys are great athletes. They work hard, they train hard. But what can I take a piece of their game and try to do a little bit better and add it into mine?
I mean, listening to you talk, it's like I'm listening to Kobe Bryant. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace,
but,
Kobe.
I hear that same competitive that I want to get better. I know he's great, but I want to be greater.
Yeah.
Speak about that. Kobe called it the mama mentality. Discipline. Like you said, you had to train a whole year. And you spoke earlier about stacking practices, meals on top of meals, right? Speak about the discipline, that mama mentality that it takes to be disciplined to even want to compete to be a national champion or a conference champion.
Yeah, I mean, like it takes a tremendous amount of discipline. It was funny because I was talking to my girlfriend this week, and she brought up that I was eating the same carb for about 10 months straight. And I never thought about it, I mean, obviously, like, you want to, like, rotate your carbs, and I rotate a lot of them at lunch. But, the discipline to eat the same meal for 10 months. Yeah, but it didn't even feel like I was in that,
It became a lifestyle.
Yeah, it just became a lifestyle to the point where, I just know it's good for me, so I'm gonna do it. That's the discipline. I'd say the discipline it outweighs any motivation you can ever have. Almost as if I wish the discipline came before motivation. Because that once you have that motivation, but you never built the discipline for it, it's a fleeting experience. But when the discipline is there, man, you have a breakthrough, and then the motivation just goes even higher. It feels like it's the major. It's like a key. It's like the major key. If you can be disciplined in any facet of life.
Discipline is the key.
Yeah, it's just the key.
In the Bahamas, running with that 4x1 relay team, running with some of the fastest guys in the country, representing the United States of America. I know you had to feel that you belong there. Was there any butterflies? Was there any funny feelings prior to the race? I mean, that's natural.
Yeah.
Just from a competitive standpoint, you're so used to running, right? Every race, it's not the same, but a race is a race.
Yeah.
Speak about that moment prior to the start of the 4x1 relay.
Yeah, man, it was such a cool experience because I was racing against people that I've been watching for track, before I ever really thought I was going to be racing.
Wow.
It was always been a goal to do these type of things, but when you're watching athletes, I never really pictured. I don't know if Kobe pictured himself actually playing against MJ, but maybe he did, But having these guys as a teammate was it was a crazy experience just being around them. But the butterflies and the emotions that led up to it, I remember thinking man, this is an opportunity to be legendary. Let's go out and just do it. Let's see what happens. Let's leave it on the line and execute. And I remember that just that feeling, that emotion when it overcame me, it gave me a good sense. So.
For sure. When they put the gold medal around your neck, how did you feel?
I felt good. It felt like it was, it just felt like it was a good capital, it capitalized that season. But it also made me feel man, I gotta go back to work.
Yes.
It's so funny because it feels like after, every race, I'm left with a feeling of how can I continuously get better.
That's Kobe, man.
Yeah,
that's Kobe.
It's I never really just feel. It never just is oh man, okay.
You never satisfied.
Yeah, it's just
I can do better.
It makes me more hungry. It's
Yes, sir.
crazy.
Yes, sir.
So it's next time I'd rather see if I can run even faster, or win an individual event too.
Speaking of that, how much film do you watch on yourself from previous races to learn if it's coming out the block right? Just your technique. How much time do you put into studying you to get better for whatever technique that you feel might help improve your chances of winning?
Man, it's I do it all the time, all the time, to the point where I remember when I was setting up my schedule for the year in the summer, I was man, I'm gonna this 2-hour period is my study period for track. But man, that was 2 hours was nothing, I didn't have to set aside a time to study for track because I'm always studying. I'm always reading the sports. I'm always in tune with the runners. I'm always in tune with, my body and just learning how these things help me become as an athlete, as a person. And it's I didn't need to set aside no time. It was always gonna happen.
For sure. You said after winning the gold medal, it was time to get back to work. You still had that feeling, I need more, I want to do more, which you ended up doing. Coming into the season, competing, you ended up winning the 60 meters in the Big Ten. Became the 60-meter Big Ten champ. Speak about, that motivation, inspiration that you had, from winning the gold medal, that feeling of still feeling hungry coming into the season. Talk about that motivation that you brought into that season with you.
Yeah, it was tricky because you have to take some downtime in this sport.
Okay.
You can't continuously train for 3 years without no time off. Every sport has an off season. but like it's so hard for me to just pull away, because it's like pulling away feels like I'm pulling away from the goals, right? So it's like, okay, I have to sit down for a month. I can't just keep running for the next 6 months, because that's going to turn into 2 years straight of running, and that's how injuries and overuse things happen. So it was hard, like sitting down somewhere. That's what like our grandmother would call it. Mom would call it, go sit down somewhere. That's so hard for me, man. Like I'd go swim, I'd go for a walk, I'll ride the bike. It's just like it was so hard preparing for the next season by trying to take time off, I guess. And it was funny because after that, I actually hurt my toe, and it was almost like my body was like, "Now you definitely can't run. Like try running in a boot."
Sit down for a minute.
Now you actually have to sit down.
Yep.
And that worked out well. But leading up to that championship, man, it's just been a blessing because there's not much things guaranteed in this world.
For sure.
And the fact that I was able to do it with my family there, with having my coaches there, having everybody, the supporters just feed good energy into me. It's like, it's a good feeling. But like I feel like we keep coming back to this because, winning one is cool, but like, can we get another one?
Yes, sir.
Like the easiest part is the first one, and it tremendously gets harder after that.
Yes, sir.
So,
and before we talk about you, I do want to say when you won the 60 meters, became the Big Ten champion in 60 meters, the University of Wisconsin won the conference championship too,
yes,
as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speak about that quick. You won yourself, and the university won as a team. Speak about the team aspect and the individuals. It's not an individual sport, it's a team sport, but you run a lot of individual races. Speak about the aspect of how you still felt together as a team representing the university.
Yeah, I feel like our team has a chip on our shoulder. We almost feel like, why not us? We all compete. We all go to these same meets. We have nutritionists, they have nutritionists. It almost feels like we have an edge every time we come to the track meet as a team to just go prove a point,
mm-hmm.
to go show what it means to be a Badger. So it's like winning it as a team was a confirmation that we can accomplish these things. Whatever we want to happen can happen at Wisconsin. So like, why not Wisconsin? It's one of those sayings where it's like, why not us? We can do this as a team. So once we did it, it was like looking around at a group of guys that gave it their all, the whole year. Everybody coming in and lifting hard. Everybody running and dying on the track. Like when you run track, you literally have to be prepared to throw up any day you're out there. Like that's the only way to get better is to push yourself to a point where you feel like you haven't gone before. So like every year we have athletes that do that every single day. And then to have a championship at the end of it, it's like it's an awesome feeling because you can't win a championship without the team. You can't win a championship without the trainers. You can't win a championship without good coaches. You can't win a championship without the lunch people working with us. You can't win a championship without so many pieces coming together. It's a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful feeling. It just keeps you motivated to try to get another one.
Most definitely. Speaking of getting another one, like I said, you're a 60-meter champ in two major conferences, the Mountain West, the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. You're a USA Gold Medalist. Mm-hmm. What's next for LA?
The goal is to just get better every single day. I try to stay away from like time goals now or, just championships. Because, the goal is always to try to be the best I can be. If it's at New Mexico, if it was in Wanakee, if it's in Wisconsin, everywhere I go, I want to try to be the best I can be, period, So what I say is what next is, how I can continue to evolve as an athlete, as a person. How can I continue to get to new levels in sports?
For sure. Before we get up out of here, let's speak about yourself. I know you have Protect the Dream,
mm-hmm.
The Protect the Dream brand going. And just looking at your social media, you also endorse different products and everything like that. Would you speak about yourself and everything that you have going on with you as Elo Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate to be, having these couple brand endorsements, and also, working on, Protect the Dream as it is as a whole. It feels like it's like my life mantra, right? It means just as much to me as anything else because, we all have dreams and we all come to a point where it gets tested. And I remember every time my dream gets tested, it's a hard feeling because you just don't want to give up on it, right? So, just the ability to protect your dreams and live your dreams, that's what I'm about, man. It's every single day, how can I protect my dreams, protect my goals? Am I getting closer to it or away from it? And that's something that I'm trying to just continuously bring with me every day.
With Protect Your Dream, I see that you post a lot of motivational quotes and posts and things like that. Mm-hmm. Would you speak specifically about what Protect Your Dream, the brand, means and what it offers?
Yeah, it's motivation for those that's, it's motivation for those, I don't want to say that need it because everybody needs motivation.
Sure. Most definitely.
It's not a specific population of people that need motivation. It's for the dream chasers. It's for the people that got that little voice in their head that, maybe they could be the only one to see it. Or maybe they've been told you're not good enough. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they've been doubted, or maybe they've been casted aside. But they're willing to take that chance and protect their dreams at all costs. That's what it offers. It offers reassurance to those that, you don't really need to have all of these other things to make your dreams come true. All you have to do is protect them.
Before we get up out of here, two things. Faith. I've heard a lot about faith, believing. Mm-hmm. Speak about your faith and how much your faith has helped you overcome all your trials and tribulations and obstacles in life.
Man, that's we're talking about a key to life. Faith is the key to life. Having God in your life, having a directed path, putting Him first. If we put in terms of winning and losing, it ensures you will always win, right? Because at the end of the day, there's nothing in this world that if God has for you, anybody can take from you. So as long as you put God first in everything that you do, everything always works out. And I'm grateful because, I call God every day. I got Him on the hotline.
Most definitely. For sure. Closing words. Protect the Dream, like I said, gives motivation and inspiration daily. What inspiration, what motivation, motivational words would you like to close this interview out with?
Yeah, well, I'll just start off with this. Whatever it is that you want to do, whether it be a doctor, track and field, whatever realm you want to do, it takes everything. It takes a level of dedication that if that's what you're not willing to do and fall in love with the process, it might not be a true passion of yours. So the opportunity to chase your dreams and follow your passions is a blessing. Because sometimes, people will give up on them. So that's why we have to protect our dreams at all costs.
For sure. Elo,
awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Man, this is it. This is the press conference. Today's special guest was UW Badgers track sprinter, Mr. Elo Johnson, who is the USA Gold Medalist and a 60-meter champion in the Mountain West and the Big Ten. Elo, would you let everyone know where they can follow you at?
Yeah, my socials are just my name. You can follow me on Instagram at LawrenceL.O.Johnson. And my Twitter is just capital L, capital O, space, and then Johnson. Or not space, like a underscore.
That's it, right there. Everyone continue being the difference that you want to see in the world and continue blessings.